Okay, so I accidentally hit stop video, so that's why we're kind of restarting in a random place. But so for your range, you should have gotten 31, and then for your median, your middle number, you should have gotten 64. I want to make a note that if you have, so let's go back. Okay, if you're starting from front to back, notice I started with 82 because you want to make sure you start with the lowest number when your numbers don't fit in one row, and then you go to the next one. So then front, and then I would come over here to back, front to back, and have 64. Okay, so remember that Q1 is the middle of lower numbers. So if this is our median, our middle numbers are right here, right? So to find Q1, we would start with the numbers to the left of our median and go front to back, and then notice there are two numbers in the middle for Q1. So for Q1, when we have two numbers in the middle, remember we have to find their mean. So that means taking 54 plus 59, and after we add them, we divide by how many numbers there are. There are two numbers, so we divide by 2. So Q1, if I add 54, and if, I didn't say this at the beginning, guys, but if you need a different piece of notebook paper, grab that so that you have space to do your work, and make sure you label it. Why am I borrowing? 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and then 5 plus 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11. So we have 113, and then divide by 2. So 113 divided by 2. 2 goes into 10 5 times, with 1 left over. That's 3. 2 goes into 13 5 times. And then we have to add a decimal 0. And say, bring your decimal straight up, and 2 goes into 30 6 times. Okay, so Q1 equals 55. Okay, and so B is the typo. That should say 55.6, so our answer is B. Sorry, just making sure. Okay, so Q1, 55.6. Q3 is that same process, so I want you to try it on your own, finding Q3. So press pause and then press play when you have finished. Okay, so you had to add 72 and 77 together, and when you did that, you should have gotten 149, and then 149 divided by 2 gives you 74.5. I never wrote this. 55.6. Okay, so now that we have our Q1 and our Q3, our next step is to find IQR. IQR is Q3 minus Q1. So it's 74.5 minus 55.6. Okay, so there is a borrowing, makes that a 3, and that, not yet. Okay, so 15, bring your decimal straight down. 15 minus 6 is 9. I have to borrow right here again. 13 minus 5 is 8. And then 6 minus 5 is 1. So your IQR is 18.9. I'm assuming since I had my first number off, that's why this number's off too. Oh no. Okay, so that should be D. 18.9 is your IQR. So remember, this is that weird part where we don't really have a name for it, but now it's time to multiply your IQR by 1.5 to get our outliers. So we're going to take 18.9 and we're going to multiply it by 1.5. Two numbers to the right of the decimal. 9 times 5 is 45. 5 times 8 is 40, plus 4 is 44. And then 5 times 1 is 5, plus 4 is 9. And then bring that, I'm sorry, I'm not done. 0 for place value holder. 1 times 9 is 9. 1 times 8 is 8. And 1 times 1 is 1. 5 plus 0 is 5. 9 plus 4 is 13. 9 plus 1 is 10. Plus 8 is 18. And then 1 plus 1 is 2. We're going to bring your decimal back into the problem. And this is 28.35. Okay, so we're now looking at finding our lower limits. Okay, so lower limits, let's go over here. Lower limit is Q1 minus 28.5. Upper limit is Q3 plus 28.5. Okay, so I'm going to press pause, and I want you to find our lower limit and our upper limit, and then press play when you have finished. All right, so for the lower limit, you should have gotten 27.1. And for the upper limit, you should have gotten 103. So remember, now we look at our data and say, is there a value that is lower than 27.1? The lowest number is 54, so the answer would be no. Then we look, is there a number greater than 103? Our highest number is 82, so the answer is no. So there is no outlier for our ages of grandmothers. So we would do none. Okay, so you have 2 more problems on the back to do. I know this looks like a lot of work, but if we just go by the steps, it's pretty simple. Don't forget, after you find your IQR, this is the step that you multiply by 1.5, and that's your beginning process for your to identify your outliers. Okay, please use numbers 1 and 2 to help you on 3 and 4. And I say 1 and 2, the popcorn and the grandmother examples to help you with the 2 on the back. And make sure that you fill out the answer document and you get your work submitted.